Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 60 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all healthy, well and COVID free. Thanks to everyone for tapping in. Truly appreciate your support. We've got another excellent show lined up for you today, including a big special guest we've got in the house. Can't wait to introduce him to you. But before we go any further, it is my special honor and pleasure to introduce, not that he needs any introduction, in the house, Mr. Big C Curtis Shaw. What are you saying, bro?
Well, good, man. We're staying up, man. We're in the top half of the table. We're flying.
Yeah, man. Good to hear your voice, man. Good to hear you. What have you been up to, man? Tell the people.
Oh, same old, man. Trying to exercise in the cold weather and just, keep ticking over, innit? That's it.
Yeah, for real, man. For real. Yeah. Glad to hear you well, anyway.
Yeah, man. Bless.
Yeah. And without any further ado, it is my special honor and pleasure to introduce in the house a very special guest, a good friend, YouTube influencer, lifelong Arsenal fan, goes by the name of Stricto. Stricto in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Yo, what's going on, bro? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Big digital applause from my boy Stricto in the house, bro.
I was feeling that, man. I was feeling that. Big intro.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. You're very worthy and deserving of that. So, Stricto, man, for the people who normally watch the show that maybe not know too much about you,
yeah,
a little background into Stricto. Tell us how you got that name, how you came to support the club. Tell us a little bit about your channel, just briefly.
All right, cool. So, I started supporting the club 1995, 94, 95 season. Literally, it was just a flip of a coin with a mate of mine when we was in primary school, trying to decide which team to support. And heads was United, tails was Arsenal. And yeah.
So are you happy with how it landed, though? Are you happy with how it landed, man?
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, like, bro, did man cheat me out with a flip? I don't know, but here I am in it. And then so the name Stricto. I used to go by the name Strict. I had a guy we used to kick ball. We had the same name.
Oh, okay.
So it was like my namesake. And then when people would try to differentiate the two of us, they would say, the strict one. So that's how the name Strict came, and then Stricto came out eventually. So that's how that went. And then so I've been trying to grow my channel ever since I came on you lot's platform. It's been a great platform for me. A lot of people show me love, and a lot of people have encouraged me to start a channel, and I started one. So make sure people you subscribe to Big Stricto, BIG Stricto, and then on Instagram BH_Stricto, B for Bellerin, H for Hector _Stricto. Let me just keep it simple.
yeah, man. Thanks for that, man. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your honest and forthright opinions, because of course you're very known for that. But anyway, moving on then. So for for those of you who don't watch the show regular, the first segment of the show we call News and Notes, and that's why we look back at stories making the headlines since our last show last week. So I guess there's only one story in town, really, and that is the departure of Mesut Ozil from Arsenal. And before I go any further, I'm just going to bring up some Ozil receipts so that I can inform the uninitiated. So Mesut Ozil, he came to Arsenal from Real Madrid in September 2013. That was for a then record fee of 42.5 million. He's gone on to be an established and household name at Arsenal, best paid player, as I'm pretty sure we all know. During that time, during them 7 years at Arsenal, he's made 184 league appearances, 33 goals, 54 assists. Also during that time, he won 3 FA Cups, and he also helped Arsenal to end their 9-year drought in 2014 when they won the FA Cup. In the 2015-16 season, he was first in the Premier League for assists. He was known then as the assist king. But I think it's fair to say as the years went on, his influence started to become less and less. And I think it's also fair to say that he left the club in a bit of a cloud, it has to be said. But I just wanted to know what you guys think Ozil's legacy at the club will be. We'll start with Curtis. Curtis, what's your thoughts on Ozil and the legacy that he's left behind at Arsenal?
I mean, I always say if we look at it from a positive point of view, I think when we signed him, it was a great signing. It made sense to sign him. I think getting him helped us get Alexis Sanchez, because he would have looked and thought, if Mesut Ozil's there, they're building something. I think the problem with Arsenal, when you've got two players on that level, and I would say the only other player on that level was Santi Cazorla, they failed to build around those players. You know, if I'm trying to build a team and I sign Mesut Ozil, you have to then build around him. He needs a top quality striker. He needs a defensive midfielder who can help protect him. And I just think Arsenal kind of just picked up a great player and put him in their team and expected everything to just click. And it doesn't really work like that. And I think for the first 3 or 4 years, we saw an excellent creative player. You know, he did what he said he was going to do. I'm going to create chances. And he did that. But I think, like you said, he's left in a cloud. I think the last maybe 2 years at least, we've seen his performances fading. You know, how many times have we seen Mesut Ozil away from home in a big away game, just not doing anything? I can't remember Ozil ever, you know, running a game at Old Trafford or at the Etihad or Anfield. You know, he's like, he likes his home comforts, man, in the Emirates, nice sunny afternoon, he'll start balling. But, you know, then the back injury started coming out of nowhere, you know. So yeah, for me, I think you wasn't convinced by the back. No, I'm not saying he might have had a back problem, but you know, it just seemed to come out of nowhere. But I think you can split his time down the middle, man. I think for half the time he was really good, and half the time he became a bit of a liability. And I think, you know, I think he needed to go. I think he should have probably gone before this, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a disappointment in the end, the way he's left.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would disagree. Well, maybe they would, because the one thing about Mesut Ozil is that he divides opinion. I remember in previous shows, every time we would mention his name, the following days, and you get a lot of comments from people, you know what I mean, either firmly coming down on your side or against you at the mere mention of Mesut Ozil. So interesting. Stricto, my man. Special guest this week. What's your thoughts on Mesut Ozil? Was he a legend for you or not?
I think I agree with kind of what Curtis is said. And on your question, was he a legend? I think if you think about the past legends that we've had, I think we can all agree that Tony Adams is an Arsenal legend. We can all agree Pierre-Emerick is an Arsenal legend. And we can all agree the same that Dennis Bergkamp's an Arsenal legend. Yeah. And for the mere fact that when you bring up Ozil's name, it divides opinion, whether he's a legend or not, kind of tells you, as far as I'm concerned, that he's not a legend. Because a club legend is one, or a player that everyone agrees with. There's no debate, there's no arguments. Like I've mentioned your Bergkamps, I've mentioned your Henrys and your Tony Adams. And I don't think Mesut Ozil will fall into that category. Like Curtis has said, when we brought him in, we had high hopes for him, you know, and it kind of almost felt like every season or every other game, this hope, this hope kind of grew. Like, okay, cool. He didn't do well at Etihad, he didn't do well at Anfield, but hopefully he'll do well here. Like, it was just like a man based on hope. He just gave us hope, and that was probably it, you know. And again, what Curtis was saying, like, we didn't kind of build around him also. You know, you've got a man who creates assists, and you've got a striker who's underscoring. You know, and it don't matter how much assist or how much chances you create. If your striker isn't good enough, then your assist isn't going to be good enough. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think he leaves the club kind of how his time at Arsenal was. You know, like the back problems, I personally never believed the back problems. I never. I did. That was for me when I kind of lost interest in Ozil, because there was times when we needed him and we knew he was fit. Well, I mean, you can argue whether he was fit or not, but I personally thought this guy is fit. This guy can play. And when Wenger left, I think it's when Ozil left, to be honest with you. And that song, him being Arsene Wenger's man, is no truer song sang. you know what I'm saying? And when Wenger left, we never really saw much of Ozil, and it's not coincidence that Emery didn't really fancy him. Arteta clearly doesn't fancy him, and he played with him. So there you go. You know, that's Ozil in a nutshell, if I'm being honest.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, like as I said before, Ozil is one of those characters that divides opinion. So for everyone that says his stay was largely underwhelming, you're going to get a lot of other people who will say that, you know, he was great for us and he was a legend and he was the assist king. So yeah, it's going to be one of them. But the one thing we can do on this show is wish him all the best for the future at Fenerbahce. Hope that he does well. I think he will do. He seems motivated. He seems excited by the new challenge. They seem excited to have him. So let's hope it works out well. But thanks, guys, for that. So moving on again then to another regular feature that we have on the show, which is to look back at Arsenal's last game since our last show. Now, that last game took place a little while ago, a few days ago, Premier League game at home to Newcastle. A rudimentary 3-0 win. It was a rather tepid first half, has to be said, but we got much better in the second half. Scored a goal inside 5 minutes, courtesy of the captain, Aubameyang. Excellent goal. Great to see him back on the score sheet. And from then on, we looked really impressive. I think that goal sort of opened things up. Newcastle didn't really offer much after that, to be honest. They were quite poor, if I'm being honest. And we got second goal after 60 minutes. And then we got another goal in the 75th. Abba got 2 goals in that game. A win inspired by the youngsters. Curtis, start with you. What was your views on that performance?
I mean, as you said, the first half, I thought we started the first half quite well, the first 10 minutes, and then we kind of reverted back to that, like, them default settings, as I call them, where get the ball wide and cross it in high. Like, I thought we had Duncan Ferguson and Andy Carroll up front, the amount of crosses we put in. You know what I'm saying? So I think what Arsenal have to do, if they've got a game plan, I always think the best teams, they're patient. You know, if that goal doesn't come in the first 10, 15, you watch Man City and Liverpool, they keep doing the same thing. They'll wear you down even if that goal doesn't come until late in the game. I feel like Arsenal, they come out flying, and when that goal doesn't come, they panic and go, oh no, well, it's not working. Let's just start crossing it in. It's like desperation football. And I think they have to remain more patient with that game plan. In the second half, totally different team. They got the goal. As soon as they got the goal, to be honest, Newcastle, they looked finished. You could see a team with no confidence, no game plan, really. I think the goals, you know, it was all... The first goal came from Thomas Partey playing a ball forward quickly, which is something that I constantly accuse Xhaka and El Neni. They don't do enough. You know, Partey got the ball, looked up, Aubameyang, 50-yard ball over the top. He's one-on-one with the defender and he scores. Too often, we don't play that ball forward quick enough. And I think that's why people like Aubameyang have struggled this season. So second half is the benchmark for me. That kind of quick performance is what we need to show against the better team. So listen, 3-0, you know, you can only beat what's in front of you. Clean sheet, and delighted for Aubameyang because he's been getting criticised, but I still believe he's a top player.
Yeah, I was especially pleased to see him back on the score sheet. And the way he took his goals as well, that gives an indication that maybe the confidence is starting to return because there were 2 clinical finishes, especially the first one. Shout out also to Partey, Thomas Partey. I thought he played well. And also to Cedric. I thought he had a very good game. As I said as well, the win was inspired by the youngsters yet again, namely Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka. But yeah, so yeah, very good performance, especially in that second half. My boy, Stricto, what's your thoughts on the performance, bro?
I think like we need to start practicing first halves. That is I don't know what they do in training yet, but they need to start practicing first halves because all too often, I think what lets us down over a course of a 90-minute game is the first half. Because if you play against better oppositions, and your first half is how it has been this season, like, you know, on a regular basis, you're gonna struggle because you can't keep depending on the second half to claw back the game or trying to win the game. you know. And we were kind of lucky that Newcastle, to be honest, not once did that feel threatened by that Newcastle team. And that's weird to say in such a shit season that we're having, that probably the only team I never felt a threat was Newcastle. And we're not gonna play Newcastle week in, week out. So we kind of have to, like, you know, adjust a couple things. I noticed certain things in Xhaka's game where, and Curtis rightly pointed out, there was a couple times when they're runners for him, and he just doesn't make he doesn't give the ball. There are a few times I've seen Abba making runs, and he's decided to pass it sideways and put his hand up to apologize. Like, you know, those kind of things. And I'm glad, like, Thomas Partey got the ball, looked up, boom, one pass, you've isolated Abba, the defender, and that we need to do more of that. And even coming into game, I was kind of saying that Abba needed to sit on the bench a little bit, because I feel like he scored so many goals. You know, he's carried the team. Let's be honest, he's carried the team. So maybe he's suffering from fatigue. You know, just sit him down a little bit and then kind of bring him on in the second half if things aren't going right, or in the 60th minute if things aren't going right, just to give him a different perspective, you know. But obviously, he's a top class goal scorer. Like, that's what he does. He scores goals. And, you know, he done his thing. And, you know, thanks to the kids, you know, your Saka and your Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, you know, they're giving out the energy and then their own personal chemistry. Like, it's something that I haven't seen in a very long time in an Arsenal team. Like, two players kind of just wanted to try things out with no fear. Kind of took it back to that Ozil and Sanchez days where it was just them two kind of trying to bust and trying to make things happen. You know, so yeah, I was kind of happy. I was happy with the second half performance, but we need to start getting out the blocks early because we will struggle.
Yeah, you make some very good points there. I agree with pretty much all you said there. That the win was, the first half was, like I said earlier, it was a bit tepid. Second half was much better. We came out blocks firing. We got the goal inside 5 minutes. The youngsters seem to inspire the rest of the team. Have been doing a lot recently, in particular Emil Smith Rowe and Saka. It's great to see Aubameyang back on the score sheet. But it also has to be said, man, that the opposition, that was as poor a Newcastle team as I've seen recently. And it kind of, and that point kind of segues, and I know you mentioned it as well, Stricto, it kind of segues into what I was going to talk about as a main topic today, which is that no disrespect to Newcastle. I'm trying hard not to diss them, but that win the other day in the second half, that is as easy a win as you're going to get in the Premier League. I think it's fair for us to say that.
100%, 100%.
But if you look at the fixtures that are following, things start to get a lot harder. Obviously, you've got the FA Cup coming up against Southampton at the weekend. But if you look at that game and beyond, you will see that things get decidedly more difficult. You know what I mean? But as we stand at the moment in the Premier League, so we played 19 games. So we're exactly halfway through the season and we're 10th, mid-table, 27 points, 19 games, won 8, lost 8 and drawn 3. But we're only, 6-7 points off the top 4. And we are on a little unbeaten run. I mean, since Christmas, Boxing Day, I think we're on a 6-game unbeaten run, 5 wins and 1 draw. We've also kept 5 consecutive clean sheets. So that suggests that we are on a good run, as we said, and the confidence seems to be coming back slowly but surely. But we have to counterbalance that by saying that during that good run that we've been on, we've played some of the teams that, let's be honest, man, they weren't at the top of the table, were they? You know what I mean? They're in the bottom half, you know what I mean? Your West Broms, your Brightons, and then your Newcastles, who we played twice, once in the Cup, once in the league. So, you know, let's be honest, man, the games are going to get more difficult. And if I could just read out some of those games that are coming up, man, I think we will agree on this. So looking at this week, we got the game against Southampton in the FA Cup, but then we also play Southampton in the league a few days after that. We've then got Man United, who are, as we speak, second in the could be going up again. Yeah. And then after that, we got Wolves away, followed by Aston Villa away, followed by Leeds at home. Then we got Benfica, and that's not going to be easy in the Europa League. I think they're third in the Primeira Liga in Portugal. Then we got Man City, We've got Benfica again, and then we got Leicester, who are currently topping the table. And then 2 weeks after the Leicester game, we've got Tottenham at home. So I think it's fair to say that the fixtures get decidedly more difficult. So I was going to ask you guys, man, given what's happened at the moment and where we are at the moment, what do you think we'll get out of those games? And do you agree with me that it's likely to be a lot tougher than what's going on at the moment? Stricto, my man, you're our special guest. Let the people know what you think, man. What do you reckon?
So, all right. So we're going with the FA Cup this week, this weekend, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cup game. We are obviously the holders, so there's a pride in defending that. So I can't see, and the toughness with this is then we have them in the league a few days later, like you said, and it's kind of what's the priority? Like, and what's I think equally has to be said. What is also Southampton's priority? Like, are they going to take the FA Cup serious? Because then if that's the case, they drop in their main players because they kind of doing all right in the league and probably want to push for like a Europa or Champions League place if possible. So are they going gun holes in the cups? I think it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but I can't see no reason why our holders' pride shouldn't see us going through that. Now the question is, will you beat Southampton? So this will be the third time we'll play them, right?
Mm.
We're gonna play them 3 times. So we're gonna play them over the course of this window.
Yeah,
would have played them 3 times. So drew at the Emirates, and then a cup game, and then the league game. Like, do we win all the remaining 2 games? Like, you know, with the confidence that's going through the team, because our confidence right now, as well as it is also quite brittle. I feel like the slightest bit of unhinging, should I say, everything falls apart. That's how I feel. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, okay, we can beat Southampton. It's not an impossible game to win in the cup, but I think it's different in the league because clearly they're going to take the league a lot more serious, and rightly so, and so should we. I think we I'm confident that we can beat them in the cup. In the league away, I don't know, possibly a draw. You know, a draw wouldn't really be a bad result. You know, I mean, Liverpool lost there. Let's try to keep it real. Like, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Liverpool have lost there, so if we can go there, get a point there, I'm happy with that. And then you've got United. We've got United after that, yeah.
Yeah, we've got United after that. Like I said,
United.
Yeah. What I was thinking when I was preparing for the show and I was looking at some of the games, what struck me is that if you look at the teams we played recently, you know, your West Broms, your Brightons, your Palace, and Newcastle and teams like that, they've tended to have been in the bottom half of the table, yeah? But if you look at our run of fixtures from the remainder of January through to the end of February, most of the teams that we'll be playing feature in the top half of the table. So straight away, you can see the dichotomy there, you know what I mean? So do you think that we can get results against the likes of Man United, Wolves, Aston Villa, Leeds, and Leicester and Man City and people like that? Do you think that do you think it augurs well? Are you optimistic, or are you cautious, or do you think that we're going to struggle? What's your view, Stricto?
Boy, like I said, the confidence here, it's so, you know, it's not all the way there, and those fixtures you just named, could knock us straight back to square one. You know, I think we can beat United, if I'm being honest. I think United are also on the same level of confidence that we are on. You know, I feel like you knock them down, you know, one game and they go back to square one and all the pressure back on Oli. You know, Villa, I can't see why we can't beat Villa, to be honest with you. I can't see why. I mean, I know they play well, but in general, they ain't got a better team than us. You know, like their players are on form, but you know, man for man, they ain't got a better team than us. You know, Leeds United, we should beat Leeds United. You know, but these shoulds are the things that hurt the most when we don't, because it's it doesn't make sense, and it gets me mad because I know what's gonna happen. But we should beat Leeds. City, you know, a draw against City is not a bad thing, you know. But overall, how many
you
points?
throw Leicester in there as well.
Leicester, whoa. Overall, yeah. Overall, if we can get 7 points, you know, 7 points, I think they're beatable teams. Taking away Southampton, yeah, I think we can get 7 points. So that's what, 2 wins and a draw. Realistically, 2 wins and a draw. United.
But then you're because that's 7 games. So you're saying that we're only going to get 7 points from 7 games.
No, I'm talking about United. I'm talking about beating United.
Right.
Beating Leeds.
Yeah.
A draw with City.
City, yeah, jeez.
A draw with City, and then
we got Wolves and Villa.
Yeah,
as well.
Wolves are not playing that well at the moment, has to be said. Leeds are a bit up and down as well. But man, I mean, I was saying to Curtis just yesterday, I think I said to yourself too, that looking at these run of fixtures compared to the previous fixtures, it's almost like you go to a restaurant, right, and you're given your hors d'oeuvres, and you devour the hors d'oeuvres, but then you've got the main course coming up, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what it kind of feels like to me, you know what I mean? But let's talk to Curtis about this. Curtis, man, so you've heard those run of fixtures. I think it's fair to say that they're a lot more challenging than the previous run of fixtures that we had just after Christmas, when we were against the likes of, you know, okay, Chelsea, you could put Chelsea are not playing that well in the moment, but Chelsea was a good win. But then, you know, Brighton, West Brom, Newcastle and teams like that, you could argue that we are expected to beat them. This next run of fixtures, as I said, looks to be, certainly on paper anyway, a lot more challenging. So what do you think, the fact that we're, you know, going through a decent run of form, although confidence is still a bit up and down, do you think that where we are now, that we can get some good wins in those next run of fixtures coming up?
I mean, do you know what it is? You just don't know with Arsenal. That's the problem. And like Stricto said there, like for all the confidence we've got from these few wins, it does still feel very fragile that, you know, one bad defeat and all of a sudden it kind of caves in. I think if I'm being totally honest, looking at those fixtures, it is crunch time for Arteta. I think we could either be in a position where he's rescued the season in the Premier League and we get through in the Europa League, or if we take 2 or 3 defeats in that month, you know, we could be where the league's pretty much done for and we got to concentrate on the cup. So, I mean, the frustrating thing for me is you're saying we're halfway through the season. I look at the table and I think there's no reason we shouldn't be in 6th or 7th. We should, you know what I mean? I think about the Burnley defeat. We should have won that game. We should have beat Leicester at home. You know, they had half their team missing with missed chances. I would even say the Wolves game, we should have got at least a point out of that game. We should have beat Palace at home, in my opinion. We should be 8-9 points better off. Probably take us from like 5th, from 10th to maybe 5th. So it's just, how are this team going to react when they lose a game? Because at the moment we're unbeaten. When everything's rosy in the garden, it's fine. You're winning, clean sheets. When we hold that L off someone, how are they going to react the week after? And I'm sure, without sounding negative, I doubt we're going to get through February without losing a game. You know, when I look at those fixtures, you know what Arsenal are like. There'll be a day they just don't turn up. And as Stricto said, with those first half performances, you ain't getting away with that against Man City at home. You know, you come out the blocks all slow. Next minute, you're 2-0 down and the game's gone. So I think this is it for Arteta now. You know, all the talking, I've been very critical of Arteta this season, as you know. And, you know, I still think he's got a long way to go to convince me that he's the right manager, but I'm prepared to, you know, support him in that. But I think this month is crunch time for him. I think, you know, that Benfica game is not easy as well, over 2 legs. So we've got to win more than we lose out of that month. That's the only way I could describe it. I think as you said, the Southampton game in the FA Cup, I think we should beat them in the cup game. I think Danny Ings is out with COVID. They will rotate as well. We've got a better squad than them, so playing them twice in 3 days, I think we'll win the cup game. The league game's a little more tricky, so
yeah,
going to be interesting. And listen, the club need to go and buy someone. They can't. Don't get too carried away on all this Smith Rowe business and that. He is a quality young player, but we have to strengthen. We need a backup goalkeeper. For a start. And if Leno gets injured, right season off, mate, with that brother in goal, that Ronaldo. I don't think he'd get an AFTV FC's team. Maybe he's going to the window, man, and saving all this money on Ozil. Go and sign some players, man.
Yeah. Well, they got saved 7 million on that deal, so yeah, let's hope so. But Stricto, you heard Curtis talk about the manager there. It's your first time on the show. So we need to get your thoughts on what you think Arteta so far. I mean, as I said before, we're halfway through the season. We're in 10th place. We played the 19 games, 8 wins, 8 losses, 3 draws. How do you feel the manager's done so far this season?
I think I pretty much agree with Curtis. I've been very vocal. I've been an Arteta out. And I think the only difference with me, like I've said before in my previous interviews, is I'm no longer Arteta out with chest. Before I was, I had chest when I was saying it, but now is a lot quieter. But he still has to do a lot to convince me. He's shown his inexperience a lot of the times, and I think people will forget that as these wins that we've collected over these past few weeks. They kind of gloss over kind of his inexperience, like for example, there's times when he's starting in Nketiah. You've got a man like Lacazette on the bench, those kind of things, and games we should have won. And ultimately, he takes a lot of credit for the good stuff. But I think people kind of get a bit angry when you give him criticism for the bad stuff, which is something I don't understand. Because he won us the FA Cup. You won us the FA Cup. Roberto Di Matteo won Chelsea the Champions League, and they still sacked him. Do you know what I'm saying? The first Champions League in London, and they still sacked him. So what the hell is the FA Cup? So far things are going well. I will support him. Even when things are bad, I will support it. But I think the difference is when things are going so bad, and you can see like, hold on, can't you see that?
Yeah.
Can't you see what you're doing wrong here? Like, it's so obvious. And I think that's the point where I'm just like, you know what, Arteta out, or whatever manager we have out, because if you can't see the wood for the trees, then boy, your time is done. And I think also, like I've always said, that this is his first job. So if you kind of imagine like an intern, getting that big job at that big corporation, they're very grateful. Arteta is not going to be the kind of guy that's going to run into the board and say, look, I want this guy, I want that. I want this guy's on Monday. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not going to be that kind of guy, because he's appreciative of his first job. And this is a big job. After Wenger, you're the next guy now. You're the main guy. So he's never going to really be the one. He's going to be a yes man. And that's kind of partly the reason why I was against his appointment, because he doesn't have that experience. And I think we're going to struggle for that. But if he does well, then of course I'm 100% behind him, because I want my club to do well. I want my manager to do well. I want my captain. I want everyone to do well. But that doesn't mean you can't criticize when you can clearly see things are not right.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Arteta, he did go through a lean spell, and he was under a lot of pressure. But he's by no means the only one. So, for example, at the time of recording the show, Frank Lampard, Chelsea recently lost to Leicester, and he's coming under a hell of a lot of stick. With people questioning whether he should be in charge, where previously he was being looked as one of the bright lights in management. So he's under pressure. Nuno at Wolves, I think it's fair to say he's coming under a lot of pressure at the moment. They've not won in a while. Performances have dipped. And even if you look at someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at United, he was under a great deal of pressure. People was counting down the days to him losing his job. But he seems to have turned it around. And now, look, they're at the top of the table, or there or thereabouts, flying high and looking good. So do you think, Stricto, that Arteta has what it takes to get through this next run of games and come out the other end looking good, smelling the roses? Do you think he's got what it takes?
I mean, one of his biggest flaws so far as an Arsenal manager is consistent or inconsistency. He's been very, very inconsistent. Yes, he's had this good patch, but now is the telling patch. Like, how do you fare against supposedly the other teams that we are supposed to be challenging? Like, how do you get past that? And I think that will be the most telling part of his managerial stint here at the club. And let's not forget, it's not even about losing these games. It's about how you lose these games. I think a lot of people will afford Arteta time if the performances are good, but the results not so. Because there's games where we should have won this season and we've lost them. Like the Burnley one, I still scratch my head. Burnley haven't beat Arsenal in like 200 years. And they come and, do you know what I'm saying? They come and they wipe us clean. So like things like that. So that's how it's going to be judged. I believe it's not possibly the results, but the performances are of those games.
But I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you think he has what it takes to get us through these next round of, let's face it, on paper, difficult fixtures? Do you think he has what it takes?
Well, yes or no? Yes or no, yeah?
No, man, I've got to put you on the spot, bro. You got to.
What is it? Yes or what? Yes? Are you asking me yes or no?
Do you think, based on what you've seen so far, because let's face it, he didn't start too well, but in recent weeks he's turned things around, and like I said, confidence seems to be coming back slowly but surely. And the young guys are doing well. Aubameyang scoring. We're seeing people like Tierney. I was going to say come to the party, but yeah, Tierney. People like that. They're starting to play well. Xhaka has improved. You know what I mean? So, do you think that there's a basis there for him to build on that, and for going into this next round of fixtures, for him to turn things around? And when I say turn things around, he's doing okay now, to maintain that form, so that we come out at the end of February looking good. What do you think?
No,
okay.
Because he's been inconsistent. That's it. He's just been inconsistent.
Yeah.
If he's shown a level of consistency, throughout, then you can kind of say, yeah, why not? But if I'm gonna go back on how he's been, it's been very inconsistent, and I'm afraid, and I feel that those inconsistency will show themselves against the tougher teams.
But would you not argue that 5 wins out of the last 6, 5 clean sheets is a degree of consistency? Would you not say that?
Yeah, but consistency isn't over just 5 games. Yeah, consistency is it's a longer thing, right? He's got 5 or 6 games behind him of good consistent of a level of consistency. But where was that before?
Yeah,
where was that? Do you know what I mean? And then you look at the opponents, and again, take nothing away, because we have actually lost to lesser teams as well this season. And he's corrected that in these last 5-6 games. But we're yet to see him against these run of fixtures and the pressure. I remember we've not signed anyone either. We haven't really brought anyone in. Like Curtis was saying, if one injury, if Leno gets injured, what happens then? What happens then? Real talk. If Leno gets injured, who is one of our 2-star men this season, him and Tierney. We already seen what happened when Tierney wasn't in the team last week against Crystal Palace. The team was done.
Yeah.
If Leno goes, you're gonna put Renarson in goal. Renarson. Nah, and these are the factors. Like, these are the factors, and that's why it ties into what I'm saying. He's not the time to go into the board and say, "Yo, I have Renarson. What? Can you give me someone else?" He's just gonna play the yes man, and that will be the end. That will ultimately be the end of him. Simple as that. Do you know what I'm saying? But if you can't get a run of consistency going over your time, I don't care about these 6 games. Yeah, they're good. There's something to build on. But if I have to look at the whole thing, it's not good enough. Let's be honest, it's not good enough. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault. He's an inexperienced manager. He's an inexperienced manager. He hasn't had a kind of the same thing what Lampard is going through right now. Is another inexperienced manager. You know, you just don't give these jobs to these undergrads.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So yeah, that's it. I don't think he will do well. I hope he does. I don't think he will, but I hope he does.
Okay, so I think it's pretty clear to see that Stricto is not overly optimistic for the games coming up.
I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. That's the best way to use it.
I hear that. That's coming through loud and clear. Right, okay, Curtis, so listen. So those 7 Premier League games in the space of a month and a half, Southampton, Man United, Wolves, Aston Villa, Leeds, Man City, Leicester, those 7 games, give me a quick points tally that we can expect to get from that.
I mean, Leeds, I think we'll win that. I think we can beat Wolves away. I think they're struggling. Man City and Leicester, I don't know about them two. Villa, if we're at it, I think we can beat Villa, but you know they beat us 3-0 at home, so I don't know. And then Southampton, did you say as well? Southampton.
Yeah, well, as I said, we got Southampton twice in the space of a few days.
Southampton, Man United, and Villa. I mean, see, you just don't know with this team, do you? That's the problem. I'm struggling to give you a points tally because
it is difficult because I remember going through these games, like I said myself, when I was preparing the show. And I was thinking to myself, this is a difficult run, you know. And okay, let's be honest, it's been an up and down season. So, for example, we know that, you know, the old concept of being home and away now is that dynamic has changed a lot because with the absence of fans and stuff like that, being home and away doesn't carry the same weight as it did when there were fans in the stadium. So there are a few intangibles there. You really. And it makes it a lot more difficult to predict games. So I'll give you and Stricto credit insofar as I put the question, but it is difficult, man, because I was looking at these games myself and I was thinking, boy, man, and you're scratching your head and you're thinking, we are capable, but then again, you know what I mean? And it's, you know what I mean? It's a real difficult one.
Do you know one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a coach? He said to me once, he said, how good are you on a bad day? Do you know what I mean? And I think the problem with Arsenal, on a bad day, I think we can lose to anybody in the Premier League. I think we could lose to Sheffield United. You know, we beat them 2-1 at home. You know, we lost to Sheffield United last season, in fact. Yeah. And on a good day, we can probably beat pretty much anyone. You know, as we've shown, we beat Man City, we beat Liverpool in the Cups and that. And I think the problem with this team, you can't rely on them. I look at every one of them fixtures. You know, and you look at it and you go, well, if we go there and play well, we can beat them. But if we're not quite at it, we can lose. And that's the problem. That's the problem. So in terms of your question, you know, can Arteta turn it around? And this month, I think he's going to struggle to do it. I hope he does. Because like you said, if our manager turns it around, then our club turns it around. And that's what we want as fans. But I still worry about, you know, his tactics, you know, substitutions. He seems to wait. You know, there's been certain games I'm thinking, make a change at half time, change the game. And he'll just sit there and wait. And then he brings Willian on and, you know, he's very predictable. And I think, you know, he's been outdone by a lot of managers this season tactically. And I think, you know, he is inexperienced. So I don't just blame him for it. But it'll be difficult, man. I think that's a tough run of games for him.
It is a tough run of games. Okay, let me rephrase the question. I'm going to change tack slightly. So those 7 games, I put you on the spot this week, my man. Those 7 games, right? What would you say is your bare minimum in terms of points acquired from those 7 games?
Is that 7 league games, or are you including?
Yeah, because there's 9 games in total, but there's 2 games against Benfica in the Europa League, but those 7 league games, and again, I'll read them out. Southampton away.
Yeah. Let me get my pencil.
I would say, Laurie, right? I think we've got to win at least 4, at least, because we're playing 4 out of 7, and that doesn't even mean the other 3 can be defeats either. Like you might have to get. We're playing catch up, so we can't say, oh, let's win 2 or 3 of them, because they're going to win 2 or 3 out of 7. So we're not going to make any ground. Realistically, I think Southampton away, you've got to try and win. Wolves, Leeds, those 3 have got to be wins. Then I'm looking at, can you get 1 out of Leicester, Man City, or United, or Villa even.
I'm just getting some breaking news, by the way, as we speak. I'm hearing that Socrates' contract has been cancelled by Arsenal.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on that, Curtis?
Cancelled.
Cancelled. Yeah.
Mutual agreement. Yeah, they paid him off his final 6 months. So, listen, man. We spoke about transfers earlier on in the season. Socrates should have been gone from long time, man. It's more.
But that's kind of weird, though. Do you think something's obviously gone on, hasn't it?
No, I think, look, man, he hasn't played all season, him and Ozil. I think Edu, listen, we've criticised Edu. I do give him some praise for getting this done, rather than dragging it out until the end of the season. He's obviously got Ozil in, said, listen, what's it going to take to get you out? We're going to pay it. Same thing to Socrates. If I'm going to pay you 6 million between now and June, what difference does it make if I pay you now or in June? I've still got to pay you. Get them out the door, get new players in. So listen, Socrates out the door, it's one of many that needs to go. I want to see Mustafi and people like that going with him as well.
Stricto, you got any thoughts on that? The cancellation of Socrates' contract?
Boy, I'm well, like again, what difference does it make if you get rid of him? If you get rid of him today, yesterday, or next week? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys should have been gone long time, But for me, I think the marquee cancellation should be Mustafi. That should be the marquee guy we get rid of, and I bring some, because as far as I'm concerned, this guy is just I don't want to say too much because people think I'm way too critical, but yeah, get rid of these guys, and I'm hoping you're getting rid of these guys with the intention of bringing in someone in. You're not just getting rid of. I mean, most important thing so far at this club is not who you bring in, it's who are throwing out. Yeah. And I use the term throwing out because I use that term out of frustration. Do you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be any niceties towards it, because these guys have brought absolute unbearable heartache and headaches to me personally. I'm not talking for anyone else, but for me, So yeah, that's good. But who's coming in now?
Yeah,
who's coming in? Because you can't just get rid of it.
I did digress. I did sidetrack. So to get back on track.
Yeah, let's get back, because you give me a headache.
The same question I put to Curtis, which is, what is your bare minimum in terms of those 7 league games you spoke about? What would you take as a bare minimum in terms of wins from those 7 games?
To me, yeah.
Yeah. That's to you, Stricto. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the list. Okay.
This is what I would say, man. I mean,
I reckon
more derbs, but now we got the main course. How are we going to fare with it, man?
Because the thing is that
derbs, but
the crazy. Okay, the bare minimum, right?
Bare minimum. What would you take? What would you say is acceptable?
9 points.
9. So that's 3. That's similar to Curtis, then. Yeah, 3 wins.
9 points. What will probably happen? What probably won't be that, but yeah, 9 points. And another thing this team seems to struggle with is bouncing back. Most teams will lose, and then the next game are hungry to correct their wrongs. This team is just, they lose and they just keep losing. It's like the hunger to correct, to right their wrongs just isn't there.
Yeah. I mean, you made a very good point earlier that you were suggesting that, and I think Curtis co-signed on that as well, is that although we've been winning, we always haven't been fluent. We always haven't been totally convincing. So I think what you're suggesting is that there's still a confidence issue, and you're worried that if we do lose a game, it could plunge us back into that negativity again. And I do see where you're coming with that. But yeah, man, listen, that's very interesting. Thanks very much on your thoughts for that. So you're basically saying, the two of you, that if you get 3 wins from those 7,
I reckon 4 wins for me, Laurie. 4.
Oh, it's 4 for you. Sorry, Curtis. Sorry.
Yeah.
So a minimum of 3 for Stricto, a minimum of 4 for Curtis. I would have to go along with that as well. You know, I think we need a minimum of 4. You know what I mean? If we're gonna get anything out of the season. Yes, they're difficult fixtures, but you know, at the end of the day, if you're going to do anything in this league, you do have to be playing and beating, or at least not losing to the better sides in the league. So I think come the end of February, we will get a real snapshot as to where we are in the season. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that, and I thank you very much, guys, for your thoughts on that. The viewers, the people watching, what's your thoughts on these next round of fixtures? From the end of January through to the end of February. Do you think we've got a chance in those games? How do you think we'll do? How do you think we'll fare? Do you think the manager has what it takes to inspire the club to do well in these games? Let us know, man. Appreciate it. You know what I mean? But yeah, rounding up the show, we normally discuss our ops of the week. You could say we've kind of done that already, but let me just go to Curtis. FA Cup game against Southampton. Both teams were bound to make changes. It is a difficult fixture, but how do you think we'll do?
I think we'll beat them, because I think, you know, with no Danny Ings, and I think they'll change their team a little bit. We'll change ours, but I think we've got a better squad than them. So the players we bring in should be better than the ones they're bringing in. We are the holders.
They will come in this week.
You don't. I mean, he's out of favour, isn't he? You know, it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't play, because he's bringing Willian on before Pepe on the right. But Pepe hasn't come on in 3 of the last 4 games. You know, I hope he starts, because I still think you got a £72 million player. You've got to try and get something out of him. You can't just write him off. So I'd like to see Pepe play, but I think we'll beat Southampton 2-1. I'll go for a 2-1 win.
Okay. And Stricto, what's your prediction for that game in terms of a result?
Yeah, 1-0. 1-0. I think the guys they're bringing in and the guys we're bringing. I think, yeah, Curtis said we're pretty much man for man. We've got a better squad than them, but I'd go for 1-0. I think it's still going to be a tight game.
Yeah, I think the fact that we're playing them twice in 3 days with this FA Cup game, I think Southampton will make a series of changes. I think you're both right. Our squad is superior to theirs, or at least on paper it is anyway. So I'm expecting that, given the changes that both teams are going to make, we'll be able to call on a few better players than they will be able to, and I think that might make the difference. Although I do think it will be a hard-fought, closely contested game, and it may even go to extra time. So I'm expecting another hard game. Southampton are a good side. Let's hope we can make Ralph Hasenhüttl cry again. But, I suspect
pronounce his name.
We're coming to the end of the show now, guys. It's been great to have you on. Stricto, man, I appreciate you coming on. You've been very honest, very forthright. You spoke it like you see it. You got a reputation for doing that, and you've certainly lived up to that reputation. Tell the people about where they can find your channels again, bro, as we close.
Yeah, man. Yes, people. So yeah, my socials. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, so I appreciate all your subscriptions. So that's Big Stricto. And then on my Instagram, it's B for Bellerin, H for Hector _Stricto. It's got nothing to do with Bellerin, but just so it sticks in you. Like
yeah, we get it.
So yeah, so it's BH _Stricto. But get into the YouTube. I got so much content coming. You know, I'm churning them out every 2-3 days. So yeah, just get on my YouTube. Appreciate that.
No worries, man. Love. Curtis, tell the people they can find you, bro.
Yeah, man, check out the channel, Curtis Shaw TV, daily content at the moment. Yeah, I'm there, 2 p.m. most days, watch-alongs. I'm there, man. So yeah, check that out.
Okay, thanks very much, Curtis. And thanks to all you guys out there for watching the show. Please send us your comments. We like to keep the show interactive, as you know. So please send us your comments, your messages, whatever you want to do. Keep in touch with us. Thanks for tapping in, man. We appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. And also look after yourselves, man. Keep wearing those masks. Keep the social distancing going. Observe the rules. And stay healthy. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care.
It's Robbie here from AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV on Flick for all the latest transfer rumours, for all the information on Arsenal, for all the information on AFTV. You can check me there for Q&As on a regular basis. The link is in the description. It is free to download. Download it right now.